Wow.
All right.
Well, if it isn't...
Guess who's back
again.
again.
Your girls are back.
Your girls are
Tell
back,
your
back.
friends.
One's in Japan and...
Anyway, well, it has been a while, you guys.
It's been a hot second.
We're
yes.
so sorry. We're so sure that you've missed our voices in your ears. All up in your ears.
Yeah, all up in your ears. Once again, I'm Sakura.
And I'm Kyoko. And we are
this
the...
is Hafu. So rusty.
It's okay. We can. It's okay. Yeah. Anyway, you guys, welcome back to the Hafu It.
Beep, 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 beep.
Wow.
Gorgeous.
Hisashiburi,
Yes.
Mina. Long time no talk. We're obviously
Seriously
gonna be a little rusty at this, so we're real sorry about that. But we've decided to come together to gift the world with a new episode of our podcast.
Truly, because it's been essentially like a year.
Yeah, I think
Because the last thing that we did was the
August?
collaboration.
Well, we put out an update episode in August, I believe.
That's true.
That's
true.
Which, funny enough, has been one of our most listened to episodes. I'm not sure if you've checked that, Saku,
Okay.
but it's, yeah.
No, I haven't checked it, but that makes sense because that episode is basically more you talking and less me talking. So that would explain why it's
You're
like gotten way
ridiculous.
more views.
Stop
Let's be
it.
real.
No
No,
one
they were
knows
like, oh my
that.
God, an episode where she's not screaming into the mic like at the top
No.
of her lungs.
If anything,
Truly,
I
they're like,
feel
so
like-
we can listen to it and drive and not worry about getting into a car accident.
No.
Perfect.
No, I feel like if anything, I always end up like talking way too much, like over you on all of our episodes. So hopefully we'll change that today.
Right.
We're
But I
gonna do
mean,
more talking, more group talking.
gorgeous. More group talking. Yeah.
The two of us, a group.
We'll open the space up, you know?
Anyway.
I mean, three's a crowd, so
3 is a crowd. We're happy, just the two of us on
all
opposite
we
sides of the
need.
Pacific.
truly me on the coast, like going down to the beach and just like crying, just like staring out.
Me like
Just staring out into
currently
the ocean.
nowhere near the ocean.
You like landlocked in the center of Hokkaido.
Yeah, still surrounded by mountains, which is nice. Also, yeah, I guess maybe
So, I mean, what were we even talking about a second ago?
So I love that we've gotten
Hokkaido what?
We're 3 minutes into this podcast, this episode, and we haven't even talked about what we're going to talk about yet.
I know, like,
Who are we? We've lost our
who
format.
are we? What is this?
We told you that this was going to be rusty. Anyway, we'll come back. We'll come back to you right now, our listeners. It's interesting. This is the first time that we've recorded an episode via FaceTime, more or less. We haven't.
Yes.
We've recorded all of our episodes
Long
in person
distance.
together. Yeah. So today,
Yeah,
Saku and I
exactly.
are coming from opposite sides of the Pacific.
Yes.
Saku is in her home in BC, and I am in my home in Hokkaido. And we have just kind of figured out this system for today. We figured it was time. It was long past time for us to record a new episode. We just wanted you guys to know that even though we've been away for a long time, we haven't forgotten about you. In fact, I think every time Saku and I catch up, we're always like, okay, when are we gonna record a new episode? When are we gonna record a new episode? How do we get back?
Slash people are still like listening. Like
Yeah.
we haven't lost all of our followers. Like
No.
thank you so much, you guys, for just like sticking around and not being like, so I guess it's over.
Honestly, wouldn't blame you for having just like left us. We're so sorry. We did say in our last episode that there would be a lot of challenges around, the time difference and having to figure out how we're going to record long distance and adjusting to new lives, our respective new lives. But yeah, it's definitely been more challenging than I think we anticipated with everything. For those of you who don't know, there's like a 16-hour time difference between Japan and Canada.
Yeah. So right now in BC, it is currently 6:15 in the evening on Saturday. And what's happening in Japan right now?
Yeah, in Japan, it is 10:15 a.m. on Sunday.
Gorgeous.
So, it's gorgeous.
I'm speaking to you in the future.
Yeah.
And
I am coming to you from the future. That's wild.
truly.
Wow.
Truly, you're speaking to these people right now from the future.
I mean, I guess by the time this comes out, it'll still be the past, but I will always live in your future as long as I'm here in Japan.
You're always going to be like exactly 10 steps ahead of everyone.
Unless a bunch of our listeners are listening from Japan, so.
A bunch of our listeners are listening in Europe. Mm-hmm. We got time. We're like stacking up the time zones.
We are Mrs. Worldwide over here.
Truly, we're running up the time zones, and I love it.
But yeah, thanks so much for your patience, and we've truly been super humbled and elated just to see that there are still people out there either listening for the first time or re-listening to our episodes. We did record quite a few episodes last year, Saku.
Truly.
We did 24
I always forget
episodes?
how many. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's wild. That was definitely an undertaking.
Truly. And for something that we're not even going to be taking seriously.
No.
We're like, let's just do it for fun. Let's just hang out and chat and record and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then we were like every single weekend, like...
Yeah, and then we did our wonderful collaboration. We're recording this at the end of May, so it's been almost a year since the end of our collaboration with Vancouver Japanese Language School.
Yes.
Which is a real honor. So yeah, we kind of touched on this, I think, in our update episode last time on just how amazing it all is. But I guess we're coming to you from, like a year after we finished recording all those episodes. And so a little bit more reflective on all of that since it's our first episode back. But I guess we should touch on that, huh? How it's our first episode back and what that means for the future of the podcast and stuff like that. We want to be as transparent and honest with you as possible. We're not going to promise things that we can't. We're not going to make promises we can't keep. But Saku and I have... we have so many ideas for the future of the podcast, and we still want to be able to do it. It's just going to take some time for us to figure out how to keep doing it with the long distance and we're both working during the week, and Saku works on the weekend too, and I'm in the future, and it's a whole ordeal. But we can promise you that we haven't lost an interest in the podcast itself. And that we will be trying to give you episodes when we can. And hopefully they won't all be update episodes. I don't think that the next episode will be, how many months ago was that? In August. So September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. It's been like 9 months. Almost
Gorgeous.
10 months. Hopefully it won't be 9 months from now. But yeah, so genuine. We're now like 8 minutes into this podcast. I'm so sorry. Just
they're loving it.
That's our apology. That's our apology.
This is what they come for.
I've loved hearing from all of you during our absence. It's been really wonderful to be able to know that we're still in touch with people who we managed to form relationships with through the podcast. And we hope to be with you guys for a long, long time. But so this season's obviously very like unstructured. Our usual structure is to give you a topic, to talk about the history, to go further in detail, and then to go absolutely unhinged on the topic. But as of right now, because we've just fully unhinged, and we've just done updates so far, but we do want to give you some more content in the future. So if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about, definitely send us a message. We are still on the social. We don't post very much, but I can tell you that we're still monitoring our account and reading all of your messages, and we really appreciate that. We have our own ideas, of course, for what we want to talk about.
I would absolutely love to do like a suggested idea from one of our listeners. Yeah. I would absolutely love that. Yeah. Or if you have like questions for us, we could like read questions at the end of like an episode. Like I want to have a little bit more interaction between, I guess like you were always interacting with them. I'm like the weirdo.
You're not a weirdo.
the anti social media weirdo. But yeah, I want us to be like a little bit more like interactive with our audience. Yeah. In the sense that they get a little bit more say in what we do, I guess maybe.
Mm. Yeah, no, I would love that.
You know, because we're like a community, we're like a family. So like we do this podcast for our community, you know?
It's for all of you. So if there's something that you want us to talk about, want to hear us go absolutely insane about,
I would be more than happy.
Yeah, we could even do like a part 2 of a topic if you feel like we didn't cover enough of a previous topic that we've talked about. But yeah, we do have some ideas going on for things that we want to talk about in the future. And yeah. We'll leave our apology there, and we'll move on to this episode. Officially.
I mean, I guess because officially, period. I guess because we've been away for so long, we owe it to our listeners to kind of let them know what we've been doing.
Yes.
And as I'm in the exact same effing situation that I was the last time we spoke to our listeners 9 months ago, I bet they would be absolutely delighted to hear what's been happening with you.
I think people would be interested in you, but we can start. We'll start with me and then we'll move on to Saku. But yeah. So
I mean, you were still in Vancouver.
That's true.
Last update, right?
Yeah, I was sleeping on your futon.
Yeah, the last update was in person. It was together. You were on my floor, Mama.
No, it was a futon.
Oh my God. During the heat wave. I love that the little time you spent with me was the time it was literally the most unbearable in Vancouver. The most unbearable. We blacked out my windows. We had like 5 fans on each of us. Half naked, dripping in sweat. My chest is like falling out of my top.
Oh my God. We had to turn off those fans too to record that episode because otherwise our audio would have been more fucked than it usually is.
Dripping. Soaked.
And we do it all for you guys.
It was unbearable. So I
guess
last time we spoke, your feet were still on Canadian soil. So
9 months is a long time to catch up on.
Truly,
we should do maybe like mini episodes here and there on more specifics. But so basically, as you guys know, I'm on the JET program in Hokkaido. I'm based in Hokkaido. I got placed in a really, really small town in central Hokkaido, and it's been really lovely. It was like obviously a very stressful situation. When I moved from Vancouver, I had to empty my entire apartment, get rid of all of my belongings, move and then move and then move again. The whole like entering Japan thing, I think was the most stressful part of getting here. Understandably,
it was full Resident Evil. It was full Resident Evil, like post-apocalyptic. Like
it was a lot. Yeah, Saku got to see me like go through all that because I stayed with Saku for my last couple of nights in Vancouver. So basically, for those of you who are curious, the process at the time in September was that you had to get a coronavirus test. PCR specifically, and it had to be done within 72 hours of your flight, which is obviously stressful because sometimes your test results don't come in within 72 hours. So obviously there are specific travel agencies and different testing sites that you can pay a hefty fee to get rapid results sent in. but even those are not necessarily guaranteed depending on the backlog of that. So yeah, I spent the last couple days of my time in Vancouver being stressed out about whether or not I was going to get COVID. Maybe we talked about this briefly in an episode, but I did have COVID in 2020. I did have COVID at some point.
I think we did talk about you having COVID, at some point.
A little bit. So I was like stressed out because I was like, it would be my luck to be about to embark on this huge change in my life and have the test results come back positive. But they didn't. They did not come back positive. I was healthy. I was good to go. Or so that wasn't where all the stress stopped, but it made sure that I was able to get on my plane to Japan, which was great. And then we had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So when we arrived in Japan, it was a fucking long process.
That was the apocalyptic part. It wasn't apocalyptic with her staying with me. I promise you, I'm like a clean person.
Sakura was nothing but the best kind of host during my stay.
She got to bear witness to a lot of like my health issues. And she's still friends with me, so it's good. But
there's no secrets. There's no secrets between us. I knew it all already. But yeah, so when we got into Japan, I think I was in the airport when I first arrived for like 6+ hours. It was a lot. And the flight between Vancouver and Japan is about 8 to 10 hours, depending. So that was already a lot. I think it was 10 hours. And then we hadn't slept. We hadn't really eaten anything. We were all like dehydrated. I say we, by the way, because you were just gonna ask. Sorry.
I was like,
by we, I mean, on the JET program, the way that it works is you get accepted with a couple other people from your city, and then you get sent out at the same time, so long as you tested negative for COVID. So it was like my cohort of people, and we were all on the same plane together. And then when we got off the plane, we had to like line up. We had to have all these forms filled out, and we had to have them organized and ready at, I think, several different checkpoints. We had to show these forms to, and no one speaks English, of course, and we're all like underslept and exhausted, and all we want to do is go to the hotel, but we have to go through all these things. I was dehydrated, so
she was dry.
I was dehydrated, and I also had a severe sinus infection. So one of my ears was like, I was deaf in one of my ears because I had a sinus infection.
Elevation, mama.
Yeah. It was all bad. All of it was bad. And so I also had like all this, this is gross, by the way, I'm so sorry, but I had like, postnasal drip and stuff like that. And I was dehydrated. So when we got in, we had to test again for COVID. And it was like one of those it was like a spit test. So it was going to be pretty quick. We still ended up waiting like 3 hours because there's a large amount of people coming in and they had to process them. But yeah, so I had to spit into a tube like up into a certain line. And I remember I like didn't have enough saliva.
You were just whispering into the vial.
It was a lot of what went into the vial was probably just mucus. And I remember
just tears.
Yeah. And I remember seeing like a little bit of blood in there, and I was like panicking because I was like, oh God,
what?
Like, yeah, because I was so severely dehydrated.
You got like influenza.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
you had, like bronchitis.
I was like sweating in the waiting room. I was like, yeah, I did have bronchitis. Okay,
so okay.
It was bad. So I was positive that this test was going to come back positive, right? Like I was like, this is going to happen for everything. Obviously it did not. I was fine. But yeah, it was about a 6-hour process in the airport before we were able to get to the hotel. And then even when we got to the hotel, it was this whole process. We were given like a rental cell phone with all these apps on it.
A burner phone. Yeah.
A burner phone. We had to check in twice, I think, every day with like, we would get a call and we would have to check in and let whoever was monitoring know that we were still in our hotel room.
And alive.
We had to do daily temperature checks for 2 weeks. And we also, once each of the weeks, because we had to quarantine for 2 weeks, we had to do an additional spit test. I actually took a video of one of them. I took a video of like me unwrapping like how the whole process went.
So stay tuned for that.
Oh my God.
It's just you trying to spit into a vial.
I was hydrated though, so it was all spit. I promise.
It was like a waterfall, honey.
It was great. She was lubricated.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, so that was fine. It was great. And then in quarantine, we had all these things that we had to do every day. Anyway, it was still nice. Like, it was nice to be put up in a hotel for 2 weeks. The food was, like, I'm sure a lot of you have read up on, especially those of you who want to go to Japan. I'm sure you've seen the rumors about the given meals that you're supposed to be given. Food. Yeah, in the hotels. It was not great, is what I'll say. Oof. But also, it was free.
It was cold.
And it was cold, you know, mama. It was cold. Yeah, Saku saw it. It wasn't great.
Witness.
But it was fine.
It was not good.
There was no coffee, which I think was like the hardest part. You had to like order room service to get coffee. Yeah. So
what would you say, like what was the most average breakfast, lunch, and then dinner? Like, which one did you have the most? Because you were there for a while, so you had to have had like repeating meals.
I think.
Was there something that you were like, this is at least kind of edible?
So I think the best breakfast was we had like a hash almost. So there were like cold hash browns with like onions and stuff like that. And I love potatoes. Right. For those of you who don't know, I fucking love potatoes. So that was a good time for me. And I think it came with like a cold, like, like a cold little like weenie, you know?
Like a cocktail weenie.
Yeah.
It's like a baby carrot, but it's a weenie.
Yeah.
They're like, that is all you get, girl.
Precisely. So yeah, it came with like a cold cocktail weenie.
Gorgeous.
And I think breakfast usually came with like a bun and butter, and there was always like pasta salad for some reason.
Cold pasta salad for breakfast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
To each their own. I'm just not a fan of pasta salad myself, so I didn't eat it. And then also we were responsible for sorting our own garbage in our hotel room.
Like the Japanese way?
Yeah, with like separating your plastics from.
Did they have the map?
No.
So how are you supposed to sort the garbage?
So they had like kind of a guide, but also there was no way for us to really sort things. So we just had like our garbage out so that we could at the designated time bring it out into the designated like garbage receptacles. Right. But in our room there was no way for us to really separate the garbage very well. I did my best. Right. The meals were all delivered in plastic bags, so I kept some of the empty plastic bags and like used those to sort as best I could. But also like coming from Canada, like there's definitely like there's recycling and there's garbage and there's compost and stuff like that, but it's not Japanese level intense.
So intense. So for we put all containers together, honey.
Yeah, 100%. And if you fuck up the recycling, like in Canada, no one's going to fine you for it. But it's just like...
They will not come... Oh, in Japan, they will come and knock on your door and be like, see this? You're taking this back until you learn how to do this properly.
Yeah, it do be
Maybe
intense.
Next time I come around here.
It do be intense. I'll get into like my town at some point, but it's not as strict in my town for some reason. But anyway, yeah. So like coming from a country where it's not that intense, that was like... kind of stressful for me, especially because I was like, I don't know, I think I made myself sick with how worried I was about whether or not I was going to be able to get to Japan, and you know, whether or not our flight was going to get canceled last minute, because there are so many members of the JET program from 2020 who had to wait an additional year to go. And I had already quit my job. I mean, I was prepared to quit my job at that point regardless of what was happening with the JET program, but you know,
right.
You just want things to work out. And like you guys, all of you guys listening, especially if you've seen our collaboration with VJLS, you know how important going to Japan was for me, coming here was for me. So it was just, it was a lot. It was very stressful. So quarantine was fine. And then, you know, I flew up to Hokkaido, and my supervisor met me there at the airport, and then we drove 4 hours into my town. And it was great.
Into the country, mama, into the Inaka.
Into the countryside. Yeah, it's full
Truly,
rice paddies out here. It is full rice paddies.
It was like the beginning of Spirited Away.
Yeah, actually my town is very Studio Ghibli-esque. Like, it's truly the Inaka experience. There's been a lot of like challenges to that, and there's been a lot of really like amazing things that come with that, but maybe we can talk about that in a different episode.
Yeah,
because I feel like there's just so much to talk about.
Oh, for sure. So when you first arrived to the town, was it like in the afternoon or was it in like the evening?
So we got in the evening, and I had been traveling all day.
Was it dark? Was it like dark. Pitch black?
Yeah, it was dark.
So you like, okay, yeah. So you like couldn't really make out the town.
No.
Yeah.
No, and the first stop that we made too was at the Board of Education, because I had to do my first jikashokai, which is Japanese for like your self-introduction.
Okay, like straight off
the bat.
You were
straight
in
off
your
the plane.
travel clothes. They were like
sweaty.
Yeah.
My hair was
gorgeous.
Fucked up. Yeah, anyway, it was cute though. Like when we pulled up to the Board of Education, two of the guys who worked there like ran to the window with like this blackboard with like neon drawing on it, and the neon drawing was very cute, and it said, "Welcome to Ibetsu, Ashley."
It said Gaijin. It said like
pretty much. Welcome Gaijin. No, it said welcome Ashley.
No,
and that was like super cute.
Yeah, who did they end up being? Were they teachers or
no? So the people who work at the Board of Education are just kind of in charge of like helping out with things having to do with this school. they don't work at the school,
like the faculty and the or like the curriculum.
I have no idea. I have no idea what these people do, but they don't teach.
Yeah, okay. It's like the school district building. Yeah. I got it. I gotcha.
So I did my first jikashokai, and I met the head of the Board of Education that night, and the first like piece of information that I got about him was that he's my neighbor. So
like in the same building, or just like my direct on your street?
Neighbor. Yeah, like
he's
in my
like
building.
In the same room as you. Yeah, cool. We share a bathroom. I was like,
yeah. Thankfully, like none of my main rooms share a wall with his apartment, but he's like super sweet, and he's also
totally.
He's also my landlord, so that was fun. Sakura's like sorry, I'm distracted.
So wait a minute, he's your landlord plus he works at the school with you?
No, he doesn't work at the school, he just works at the Board of Education.
Okay, he's like it's a gig economy, you gotta hustle, you know.
You do gotta hustle. Yeah, it's good though. I like pay nothing for rent. I don't actually pay nothing, but Saku knows I pay basically nothing. If you guys want like an episode where we talk about specifically like how much it costs for me to live in Japan on the JET program, we can definitely do that. But we'll save it for another episode. But yeah, so did my jikashokai. And then my supervisor took me to 7-Eleven for my first
of course
grocery run.
Now, is it a 7-Eleven or is it a Sevens and Holding? Which one? What's it say on it? What's the sign?
They're all the same. I think it says 7-Eleven. It says 7-Eleven.
No, they're all the same.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
Some
you're
just
right.
Yeah.
Some say 7 in my holdings. Yeah.
You're like right. yeah, it doesn't matter, but I'm just like...
It's a good question, honestly. I don't think I like really pay attention.
The listeners have to know.
They have to know. It is a 7-Eleven. I don't think it says 7 in my holdings.
Because it was so late at night, he was like, there's nothing in your fridge. Like, we need to stop somewhere and get you something.
Yeah. I also wasn't sure if I had like toilet paper or like a towel. Like, I really needed to shower.
Yeah.
And then he brought me to my apartment and he helped me like bring stuff up. And then he came in to like show me like where everything was. But it was all in Japanese. And keep in mind that like I had been very stressed out. All the signage is in Japanese. He was explaining everything to me in Japanese.
Of course.
Like,
yeah.
And this is after like it was a very stressful time to get to Japan, period. And then I was in quarantine for 2 weeks, so I didn't see humans, period. Really, like I wasn't allowed to see anyone or do anything. So this was like my first day in freedom, like in Japan, and this is all happening on the same day.
Yeah. That's a lot.
So it was a lot. I was like exhausted. I remember all I wanted him to do was leave. And I was like, he was so nice and it was so great. But I was like, I need to sleep. And then even then, it's like sleeping in someone else's bed because it was the bed left for me by my cred. So it's like not even like my bedding. And I don't know if it's clean. And the bed was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and everything's still set up how they set it up. Yeah.
It just felt dirty.
Is your place like ground level, or do you have to go upstairs to get to your front door?
Yeah, so there's only like one flight of stairs to get up to my to my apartment. Or I should say there's 2 flights of stairs, but there's only 2 levels in my apartment building. Right. So I live in I forget, I don't even know what you would call it, but there's only 4 of us. There's only 4 suites in this apartment, and it's it's owned by the Board of Education, more or less. So it's all like teachers housing. Not that any of the teachers who work at my school live here, but the head of the Board of Education lives here, and then there's like a really lovely old couple that lives downstairs. They see me in the morning sometimes when I'm leaving for work, and they're always like, "Ittarashai," and that's always very cute.
You're like, "Hey."
I'm like, "Itakimasu."
You're like, "Hey, girl."
Thanks, Oba-chan.
I love.
And then there's like a really
when you get
quiet
your groceries and stuff, you have to carry them up 2 flights of stairs.
Yeah, but okay, so Saku knows this about me, but maybe you guys don't. But like when I was in Vancouver, I was very lazy about my groceries. I really had them delivered like every 2 weeks because
I'm like,
I would order like
I'm like picturing you.
I would order like 2 weeks worth of groceries. So it was a lot. And like I was one person, I couldn't like carry all of that by myself. And like, I don't know. It's all excuses. And like I was really lazy and I have social anxiety. So it was just a really nice situation for me. So yeah, it's definitely a surprise. Hence the surprise for Saku that I carry my groceries up my stairs now. It's really because I have no choice. And you know that I for sure, like when I first moved here, I looked into options to have groceries delivered, especially because it was like new and it was scary, and I didn't know how to navigate the grocery store, and I didn't want to run into anyone. I didn't want to be stared at. I wasn't ready for any of that. I mean, honestly, you guys, it doesn't matter if you're ready. It's just like what happens. It's just what you got to deal with.
Right.
But my supervisor did take me for my first like actual grocery shopping so that I would understand like where everything was, and he made a couple recommendations for me because obviously there are none of my Western products that I would buy in brands.
Totally.
And at that point I couldn't read a lot of kanji and so I didn't know what anything was. But it's all good now. It was all good.
Oh, interesting. So do you find a majority of things aren't written out in like hiragana? Do you find that most things are written out in kanji, or is it like a mixture?
A lot of it is a mixture. So the only time that there's not really a mixture is when there's katakana. And katakana is like fucking difficult. I don't know about you.
It's so weird because it's always for Western words. It's always for Western words, and I'm like, I feel like maybe those words just shouldn't be like spoken in like the Japanese tongue. I don't feel like we should try to like twist our language to try to say a foreign word.
You're popped
like,
off, sis.
You're like, sure.
I mean, I was just trying to talk about how it's difficult because some of the letters, like a lot of the letters, like they look the same.
You're like, so tell us how you feel, Saku. I'm like, if we couldn't say it in our alphabet, then clearly it wasn't like meant for us to say.
I mean, to be fair, like,
Just kidding, obviously.
Kanji was the first alphabet and it was stolen from China. And all of Japan's like original alphabets are based off of kanji. So
100%.
Japan doesn't have their own.
I feel like now in this day and age, I feel like we could just use hiragana and katakana.
No.
I feel like we could retire kanji.
We
and
can't.
That is solely for the benefit of me, so I don't have to learn kanji.
So we'll talk about that. I love how we've gotten completely off track, but I love this. This is what we do. This is what we do best.
This is who I am.
This is who we are. So I started learning kanji, and it's actually kind of honestly, like, and Saku can probably vouch for this too, but before I moved here, I was like, I'm not learning kanji. I was like, I'll learn hiragana, I'll learn katakana, I'll learn how to speak Japanese. I was like, I will not learn kanji because it just gave me so much anxiety, and I was like,
it gives me so much anxiety.
So complicated looking, but honestly, it was kind of fun. Like, it's kind of fun to learn kanji. I use Womxn for any of you guys looking for my recommendations, but that's also just like, I'm not ready to like go into full lesson mode on kanji stuff. I feel like Womxn was a pretty low commitment way to learn, and honestly, it's been very helpful.
Yeah,
it's very fun and
what
repetitive.
Is this? Sorry, is it? It's an app.
So it's an app, but also like you can do it on your laptop.
It's an app with in-store purchases.
No, I don't think so. So you can do the first, yeah. You're just adding like an ad in the middle of our episode.
I'm just the weirdo.
Womxn is a non-sponsored in this program.
We're not sponsored.
No, but I vouch. So it's like you can do the first 3 levels of kanji, which are very extensive on their own for free, and then after that you have to pay to like continue. I've reached the end of my free levels, and I'm really like, I want to do more because it's genuinely fun. So you learn like, kanji is interesting because you learn radicals first, and then you learn...
That's radical, man.
Yes. Cha.
That's far out.
Cha, dude.
Dude.
And then you learn kanji, and then you learn vocabulary. So it's interesting because the radicals make up the kanji, so you have to learn the radicals first.
Right.
And then you learn the individual kanji, and then you learn...
what they mean.
The vocabulary. So sometimes
how
the
to
meaning,
apply them.
Yeah, and then between the kanji pronunciation and the vocabulary pronunciation are different because there's the onyomi versus the kunyomi pronunciation for kanji. So it is like a lot, but Womxn has made it actually genuinely fun for me to learn.
Yeah.
And now it's cool because I'll see kanji all the time that I recognize, and like I can read it.
I love that.
It's very rewarding.
Because I'm like, my last name can be written 2 different ways.
Yeah.
So it can have 2 different meanings depending on how you spell it. I'm like, so
yeah.
I'm like, I think that's what gives me so much anxiety with kanji, the fact that there can be multiple ways to spell one thing depending on like what you mean. Yes. Or one kanji symbol can have multiple meanings, but depending on how you're using it in a sentence, it will mean certain things. I think I'm just scared because it's like the unknown, you know? I've never actually like tried to learn. So I think I'm just scared of just like, you know,
well, that's how I felt too. It's like paralyzing. Like the fear is paralyzing because it just feels like so much. I feel like Womxn really like breaks it down like into like baby steps, which was really helpful for me because then by the time I learned the appropriate radicals, when we got to the kanji, I was like, oh, I know what that radical is. Like, and those two radicals are together. What's that called? Oh, it's called this. Okay. And then you move on. And it's just kind of, it's nice because it's in so many baby steps that by the time you get to like learn a whole vocabulary word with the kanji, like 2 or more kanji characters, you're like, oh, I know exactly what those pieces are. Therefore, I know how to say this word. Like I know what this word is, and then it's just memorizing what that word means. But because you've already learned the meaning of the individual kanji, you already know what that word is. Like a lot of it is very intuitive. So yeah, it's not as scary if you do programs like that like break it down for you, I don't think. That being said, I am very biased because I've only ever tried Womxn, but
it's I've never tried anything else, but it is the best.
It is the best. It is very like popular though out there in the language learning communities.
I love that. So when you did arrive in your town, it was winter, right? Or heading into winter. Was it snowing already when you got to Hokkaido?
No. So when I got into Hokkaido, it was already... So it was interesting because when I left Tokyo, like from the quarantine hotel, it was like 30 plus degrees. And then when we got into...
in sweat.
Yeah, dripping. And then... Because we're also all in like business attire to meet with 100%. Our supervisors.
Yeah,
and so,
business casual.
Yeah, so I step off the plane and we're in Hokkaido and it's like a solid 12 degrees. It was like beautiful. It was wonderful for
you're
me.
Like, yes, I've arrived. Yeah.
It was still fall. It was still autumn when I got into my town, which was honestly wonderful because you guys know that fall is my favorite season.
It's
I
our
love
favorite
the fall
season.
leaves. It's our favorite season. It was Gilmore Girls season.
We are the Japanese Gilmore Girls. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing.
Truly.
And my town is so rural and surrounded by mountains that there's so much lush greenery, and during the fall it's all oranges, reds, like all the fall colors, and I'm just surrounded by it. So I remember when I first got in, I was like kind of nervous because again we already pointed out that when I first got here it was very, very dark. So I had no idea what my town looked like, and then the first time I got to go for a walk, I got to see like all the mountain range and all of the fall colors, and it really made me feel like very at peace. Like it was a really nice like entryway, especially because when you look at my town, there are no photos anywhere, and then you do like a Google Street View and it's fucking awful. Like it looks so bad. All the photos are pixelated. It's white, like everything's covered in ice and snow, and it just looks not great. So I remember being kind of nervous, but honestly, my town is absolutely gorgeous. Like every season that I've seen it in so far has been absolutely stunning.
Totally.
So when I first got in, I think I only went into the office the following day because we had to set up my bank account, which was a whole thing. That was a whole thing, you guys. That was so much paperwork. And I had to meet the mayor, and I had to meet like all these other people. So I did so many jikashokais on my second day. And a lot of Japanese, like when I was signing up for my bank account, they wanted me to like write things in kanji.
Right.
And I was like, you guys know that I don't speak or understand Japanese yet.
You're like, who do you think I am? Like,
yeah. So
they
that
saw
was like
your
a whole
last
thing.
name and they were like, so she clearly speaks fluent Japanese. She reads kanji. She can write kanji.
Yeah. So
you were like, cool.
I was like, great. So that was like a whole thing. And then afterwards I was told that I could have some time off. So I took the Friday off that week. So I got into my town on a Tuesday. I think I had to go to work on the Wednesday and Thursday just to get some paperwork and stuff done, because we also had to like sign contracts to get my internet up and running. We had to do all these things just to get set up. And so then I got the Friday off, which was nice. And then I went to school on the following Monday was my first my first day. But I was shadowing.
Didn't the last jet person like just leave? Why did you have to like go get your internet?
No, because she would have left because the contract ends on July 31st.
Oh, okay.
So she had been gone for months. Yeah, so the actual modem was still here, but it was like getting it
modem
reset up. We love a modem.
We love a modem.
Yeah.
Come on now. What's the internet company called?
Potato.
Hell yeah. I mean, what more do you need to say?
Like, I wish that I was kidding, but I'm not kidding. It's called Potato. That's my internet. I didn't doubt you
for a second. I was like, yep. Mm-hmm.
You just accept it for what
I can
it
just
is.
picture what the logo 100%.
Yeah. So I'm with Potato Internet. It's great. Highly recommend.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So my first couple days at school were like just shadowing. There is another jet in my town. Anyway, so I shadowed her for the first week between the Chugako and the Shogako. So Shogako is elementary school and Chugako is middle school. So here, or junior high school. Just so you guys know. So I'm actually just based out of the Chugako, and then she is based out of the elementary school. So we don't ever see each other or anything, but because she had been taking over for the previous jet for the couple months prior to my arrival, she was there for my first couple days there, and I got to see the elementary school. And then the week after that, I was on my own at Chugako, and it's great. I love my kids. It's definitely been an adjustment, and I have a lot to say about the job in general. And I've had one of our top fans of the podcast reached out and asked me about the program because they were thinking about applying. Yeah, and I answered very truthfully. Like it's a good program. Like especially if you're Hafu and you kind of want to come here for the sake of, connecting with the ancestors and whatnot. The motherland. Yes. But the job is just okay. But it's like, if you can make yourself okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's more about a means to an end. Like it's going to get you there.
Yeah. For me, it is. And I know that for a lot of people in the program, they're here for different reasons than I am. And so there are people who are here for 6-7 years, even though the program's supposed to be 5. And they love it. And that's wonderful. And those people, sometimes they're fresh out of university. So it makes sense, right? Just to stay and save money and get work experience and just live your best life. World. But but that's not me. I've already had I graduated from university a while ago, and
A while ago.
Oh my God. And so I'm here for different reasons. But honestly, if you just want to be in Japan, it's such a freeing program to be on. It's the best program to be on. If you're going to come to Japan, everything's kind of just set up for you, and you get paid enough to live and to travel and to have a really good time. And that's kind of what I've been doing so far, is a lot of traveling, which is wonderful. You guys know that I live for travel, and
yes. She loves to travel.
She loves to travel.
We love to travel.
Why travel?
Why? That's basically everyone's question when interacting with me.
No.
And no, that's fine. I wear that with a badge of honor.
Yeah, that's why everyone loves you. So
that is why everyone loves me.
Yeah, the travel.
There you go. The why.
Yeah.
The
But
trim
anyway,
bell.
we've talked about me for like a solid like 30 minutes, I think, at this point, maybe longer. So
I mean,
we'll leave it at
yeah.
that. Maybe.
Gorgeous.
Saku, what have you been up to? Just because you haven't like changed jobs or anything like that doesn't mean that. Oh, how's our girl? She doing okay? She had something in her throat.
She's doing great. She has mastered the mute button on her microphone, so
I'm
she's
so
ensuring she's ensuring when shit is going down that she's muting it. This whole time you guys don't know. This whole time you guys don't even know. I've just been like screaming my head off like a mad person, but I've just had my mic on mute.
But they love the scream. They live for the
I'm joking. I would never deny you guys a scream.
I love that. I was like, wait, I'm gonna find out when I edit this at some point. Like, bitch. I was like, if you've been muting them for real, you're gonna have to give them one solid like scream because they live for it.
Just right at the end, one powerful one. No, I'm like, we're obviously recording separately, but we're on a video chat right now, so you would have seen me screaming.
Oh yeah, I've seen you scream. That's why I would have noticed for sure.
You would have noticed, yeah. I'll never withhold a scream.
I love that. Never withhold who you are.
Never withhold. Yeah, so I've just been chilling. Nothing has like changed about my status or anything like that. Some crazy shit has been going on at work, y'all. For those who maybe haven't been with us since the beginning, but me and Kyoko met at work and at the place that I currently still work at. And literally the second Kyoko left, it has just been like a nightmare. Why am I still there, you ask? I don't know. I guess I'm just like...
Well, circumstances are hard.
I mean, the cycle of abuse is a very strong, powerful thing. You know, once retail gets its hooks in you.
You had plans to like leave. It's kind of been beyond your control, I think, at this point.
Well, 100%. It's more just convenient right now to stay, if anything. But yeah, some like crazy shit has been going on at work. So I think been shown by the universe that it's time to move on at long last. I mean, from me saying that I was going to leave when you left to us being here now in 2022 in 2K22. Can you imagine?
2K22.
Truly still here, still at it. Yeah. There's like a lot of things that I've been holding back in my life because I've been either like using certain things that I've been kind of like waiting for on the horizon as an excuse not to do things like right now in the moment. And I don't know what has happened, but in the past little bit, like something's just like clicked. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to put off doing things or even just like attempting to do things that I want to do because I want to wait for something to happen so that I don't know, you know? I think I've always just been very controlling of my life. And over the past little bit, I'm just kind of getting to a point where I'm like, fuck it, like truly, like what's the worst that can happen? Let's do it. Like, you know, and it's been very liberating. So yeah, hopefully in the next like couple episodes that we release, I'll have like some fun new things that are happening in my life that I can discuss with you guys, because there is some stuff going on. It's just nothing's like for sure yet, so I don't want to prematurely talk about it, you know, until it's something I feel that is more stable and I can talk about. But yeah, there's definitely some fun things on the horizon. I'm going to be way more active on social media moving forward.
Oh shit. She's on TikTok, by the way.
So Yes, yeah, I'm on TikTok. I haven't posted anything yet, but my TikTok handle is The Proud Asian, all one word. So if you guys want to find me on there, my one follower is Kyoko, so you can also find Kyoko through my page. You can find Kyoko through my page. But yeah, so I'm hoping to be a little bit more active in the social media community, especially in regards to our community, and just putting out more content from people in our community and about people in our community, I think is needed. There aren't a lot of Asian content creators, and there's not a lot of it's interesting. There are a lot of queer Asian content creators and queer Asian people in the media, which I think is really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we have so little representation already, but there are so many people, especially in the entertainment industry, who are openly queer Asians, and I think that's so amazing. So I don't feel like I have anything to like prove or add to that, because I feel like that community is already being represented by the Asian community. But then there's other aspects of me that I feel like need to be like represented a little bit more within the Asian community, and talked about a little bit more in the Asian community, and just normalized, I guess, a little bit more in the Asian community. So yeah, I'm just hoping to put myself out there, and if anything, just kind of help contribute to a conversation, if anything, you know. This is making me sound like really high and mighty, and like I'm going to be doing like God's work. But
you are.
It's gonna be me like full on like having an ADHD like spiral. Like it's gonna be me vlogging like in the middle of nowhere.
Yes. Like oh my God, you're gonna be the next Starzy.
I'm truly gonna be the next Starzy. I'm gonna be in like an abandoned basement, like. Like throwing like shit around.
I'm gonna be in the river. Goodbye,
truly,
girls.
Like I'll be gone.
It's our favorite TikToker, by the way, Starzy. Shout out to Starzy.
Yes, shout out. Yeah, and I'm hoping to like connect more with the people who listen to our podcast and who follow us, because obviously up until this point it's been 100%. I mean, like Kyoko obviously like fills me in on stuff that's happening on our page, but Kyoko was 100% the social media manager of this operation. So I heard things, and she would always tell me when positive things were happening with our social media, but I was not experiencing those things firsthand. So I'm really, really excited to move forward and be a little bit more connected with the audience.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone wants to know you so much better. I feel like you don't know this. Like I feel like you don't know, but like I think you're the favorite like on this podcast. I think people like really want to hear more about you and like more from you, like even just like on the podcast, but like on a personal level. I think everyone wants to be Saku's friend, and like I think that's wonderful.
It's the elusiveness.
She's a mystery. No, I think you're like
she's a mystery.
I think you're amazing, and like obviously Saku's like not someone who toots her own horn ever. She's very, very hard on herself. But like I maybe because you haven't been like on socials very much, and like just so you guys, like Saku's just never really been like a social media person. It's just not really like her thing. So, or it hasn't been her thing, but she's working into it. She's coming into her position. But yeah, like the people who we've talked to, even like the person that we talked to last spring before we started doing, or maybe while we were working on our VJLS, our fan from California. Yes. Yeah, they seemed super excited to like talk to you, and like they wanted to ask you questions, and I think that that's because you are so much the person who could be a voice for everyone in our community, especially you being who you are, and you're very passionate about these issues, and there are not a lot of voices within our community that feel, I don't think, like confident enough to really speak out. So I think, yeah, anything that you put out there, I think people are gonna like eat up.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting too, because as someone who hasn't really been on social media, I'm kind of coming into it in the 11th hour. So I'm going to be like kind of learning everything as I'm going. So it's going to be really interesting to put out content and then see how people react to it. And then maybe what I initially thought I was going to be doing, maybe I'll be steered into a different direction. Like, yeah, it's really, really interesting. Maybe people won't be into it at all. Like, that's always a possibility. Like, we'll see. But again, why not try?
Yeah.
Like, what's the harm in trying?
And I think you have so many interesting perspectives on all of those things. Like, I think a lot of the current version that I am is because I've had a lot of conversations with you about things that I would never have thought about otherwise. And I like owe a lot of my current like wokeness to you. And I'm currently very passionate about all of those things, I think, because of you. And it's important. It's important to have more people rallying behind each other in this community and not being so, I feel like there's a lot of conflict within the community, like to each other as well as towards the outsiders, and that's not what we need, especially not right now. Like, we need community,
right.
We need to foster that, and yeah, there need to be more voices. So yeah,
totally
wow,
gorgeous. This got like super intense near the end.
This episode's been a real mess.
A roller coaster.
I'm so sorry. We're so sorry. Yeah. I feel like there's so much more to talk about, but we're past the 1 hour mark. And I mean, I'm sure they'd live for a whole other, like, we could probably keep talking, but
yeah, I mean, we might just have to do a whole nother episode and continue the recap.
Continue the recap. Yeah, I mean,
recap part 2.
Yeah, I think we're gonna cut this episode off here, also because Saku and I haven't actually caught up in a while, so we're gonna have a little separate chat with just us Goyles. But we've really been thinking about you guys every step of the way over the last couple of months, and we've been dying to try to connect with you guys, and obviously neither one of us is willing to do anything on our account without the other. This is our podcast. We are a duo, we are a team, and you'll never see one of us posting something on there that isn't the two of us.
100%.
So unless Saku and I are, have the time or have the ability to record together, there just unfortunately won't be episodes. And but yeah, we are working really hard on it, and like, we are so appreciative to all of you for sticking around and listening. And those of you who have reached out, a couple of you have reached out to ask me about Japan. I'm so thankful for that. It can be a definitely like isolating experience being in either mine or Sakura's position, where like I'm away from all of my friends and family, but Saku also like, like we're best friends and like we're far away from each other and it's like family. Yeah. So it's been hard, but it's really, really wonderful to see that our community is still kind of together, and even just like within the community without us being involved, it's fun to see you guys kind of interacting with each other and
I love that,
interacting with our content. And that's why we did this. So hopefully the next episode we put out, we'll probably put like an actual topic to it. And then totally. I'm sure like life updates will come in and out, but honestly, we'll put like a poll maybe on our story and just see like if any questions come in. Like, I'll put an option for people to send us some questions, and if any questions come in, then I promise the next time we record an episode, we'll do as much as we can to answer any of them. if anyone ever sends in any questions. But also, if you miss out on the poll, you can always message either one of us, and either like through the Hafu It account or through either of our accounts, and we will be able to get to you guys on life updates as well as our content. But as you can see, the format of this season is going to be pretty different.
Yes,
we were very,
which is exciting,
structured in the first season, very like history, and then wild talks, and like I don't think this season will be unstructured, but we're gonna try to have a little bit more fun, a little more fun with this season.
And now we have like a little bit more
of an idea of like
a little bit more of an idea. Like we went into this truly not having any sort of idea of what we wanted to do. So it was truly just us like freestyling it. Now we have a little bit more experience under our belt. So
yeah, we have a whole 24 episodes. We have a collaboration. Yeah, we're obviously rusty. This has been a very messy episode. Sorry again. But yeah, we still love doing this, and we love talking to you guys, and we love hearing from you guys. So on that note, if you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Instagram, mostly just Instagram, at Hafu It on Instagram, and I'm Kyoko, and you can find me across most platforms at This Is Kyoko. That includes TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You find me. And Saku.
I love that. Yeah. And I'm, of course, Sakura. And you can find me on Instagram at saku.miki. And then you can find me now on TikTok at The Proud Asian.
Yes.
Oh,
TikTok.
I got 2 things to say now. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
girl, she's got 2 handles.
Here we come.
Also,
season 2.
We're also on YouTube, where you can also kind of watch the visual episodes of our VJLS collaboration from last spring. If you want to see our beautiful faces speaking, because we don't normally do that. And we also just post the audio versions there if you're unable to listen to us through paid platforms and all that, like Spotify or Audible or any of those.
Gorgeous.
So thank you so much for tuning in with us. We're sorry it's been so long. I know that we're obviously very Canadian, because we've apologized like 100,000 times in this
so
episode
many times. So Canadian, so Japanese.
So Canadian, so polite, so Japanese. But we've really loved talking to you guys. So thank you again for all of your support, and we will see you next time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.